Good morning and welcome to Detroit Unity Temple, where the opportunities and challenges of living meet the awesome and the wonderful and the fantastic power of God. We are so grateful that you're joining us here right now for our wonderful service. My name is Pastor Gregory Guice, and truly this has been a wonderful month for African American history. We know that right now many of you have been with us, following us this entire season, and we have had some fabulous programs. It just has been so dear to my heart, and we want to say thank you in advance for being a part of this service. So we hope that you go out and you share this information. Tell somebody to join us today, because we have another fabulous Sunday for you. So right now, as we begin this service, I want to invite up our very own, the Reverend David Stubbs, who's going to begin this moment with the reading of today's daily word.
Good morning, Detroit Unity. Today's word is connection. Our affirmation says, I honor my connection with all people. No matter how great the distance that exists between me and the people I care about, I know we are connected by our love for one another. Today, I reestablish and strengthen this connection by reaching out, even if it's only to let someone know I'm thinking of them. Our connection is also kept strong through prayer. As I pray for those I care about, I bless them by holding my highest vision for their lives, seeing them as healthy, prosperous, happy, and fulfilled. Whether we're in frequent contact or have fallen out of touch, my connection with my loved ones remains strong because we are one in God, one in love. Our scripture, for in the one Spirit, we were all baptized into one body, Jews or Greeks, slaves or free, and we were all made to drink of the one Spirit. 1 Corinthians 12 and 13.
I just love that daily word, connection. Thank you, David, Reverend David Stubbs. And that scripture was one of my favorite. For in the one Spirit we were all baptized into one body, Jews or Greeks, slaves or free, and we were all made to drink of one Spirit. Let us affirm our congregational mission statement. Our mission and goal is to prayerfully demonstrate the teachings of Jesus Christ through the study and practice of true principles. And as we take that in, let us just breathe into that. And as we do so now, let us affirm our vision statement for the living temple. We, the spiritual community of Detroit Unity, joyously carry out the vision of renewal and prosperity for ourselves, our spiritual home, and our world. This week we have what is called Food for Thought that we take on every week. And this week, the Food for Thought comes from Maya Angelou. Bringing the gifts that my ancestor gave, I am the dream and the hope of slaves. I rise, I rise, I rise. What a wonderful food for thought. I'm going to say that one again by Maya Angelou. Bringing the gifts that my ancestor gave, I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. If this is your first time joining Detroit Unity, we welcome you and encourage you to join us again for our regular service every Sunday at 10 a.m. And I have to share with you, we look forward to the moment when we can open up the doors of our church. But right now, I feel like a wonderful song that can come on, and so I'm going to look over to Sandra Beaumont and Denard McCleary, because I know they have something special for us to be involved with. So, Sandra, take us to a place that only you can take us to. So please provide us with a wonderful song, because I know you have that special sound, and you and Denard, take us there. God bless you.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, now I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Oh, all over the world, I'm gonna let it shine, y'all, all over the world. I'm gonna let it shine, all over the world. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, yeah. Now all in this room, I'm gonna let it shine. All in this room, I'm gonna let it shine. All in this room, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, now I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, y'all. Hear me now. Let it shine, let it shine. Oh. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine.
What a beautiful song. But let us take time now to acknowledge the people and things in our lives that we are grateful for. And I have to share that this moment, we are so grateful for the artwork that we have right up here on stage. And as I was walking into our sanctuary today, I took time to look at each piece of artwork that we have right here. And I am so grateful for the artwork and the artist that's from Sherwood Forest Art Gallery. And I was just resonating by the artist and the artwork each one of these pieces are so fascinating and so dynamic. But I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for just the thought and just the spirituality. But during this African American History Month, I'm grateful for every member of our church who have taken time to be a part of this wonderful monthly experience. For each week that you have been a part of our segment. But I was so grateful. But right now I'm grateful for this particular person who's going to come up and just be a part of this moment. So I'd like to introduce our very own Miss Linda Porter King.
Good morning, Detroit Unity. Now let us affirm our statement of truth. There is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe. God, the good, omnipotent. Now let us say our prosperity thought for the week. We are abundant and prosperous in the Spirit of God. Again, we are abundant and prosperous in the Spirit of God. And let us now prepare for our morning meditation by reflecting on the goodness of God and by singing the Lord's Prayer.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors, and leave us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever.
The Christ of God is quickened in me. Next, move your center of attention to your forehead, which you think of as representing your conscious level of mind. To realize that you are consciously aware of the Christ in God is being quickened in you. Say or think, I am aware that the Christ of God is quickened in me. Now move your attention to the solar plexus, which represents the subconscious level of mind. And in order to accept your awareness that the Christ of God is being quickened in you at the deepest level of being, affirm, I am grateful that the Christ of God is being quickened in me. Now let your center of attention travel to the middle of your head, the faith center, and softly affirm, the Christ in me calls forth Peter, my disciple, faculty of faith. Next, focus your attention through your body to the small of your back, the part of your side between the lower ribs and your pelvis. Softly speak the words of truth. The Christ in me calls forth Andrew, my disciple, faculty of strength. I sometimes add, I am strong in the Lord and the strength of his might.
without a song. The day would never end without a song. Whoa, the road would never bend when things go wrong. A man ain't got a friend, no, no, unless God gives him a song. That field of corn, oh, have never seen a plow. That field of corn, would be deserted now. A man is born, oh, he's no good, no how, unless God gives him a song. Oh yeah. I've got my troubles and woes, sure as I know the Jordan will roll. I get along as a song is down, deep down in my soul. I never know, no. Ooh, what makes the rain to fall? I'll never know. What makes the grass grow tall? I only know. There ain't no love at all, no, no, unless God give him a song. My troubles and woes, Sure as I know the Jordan will roll, I'll get along, oh yeah, as long as a song is down, deep down in my soul. I never know what makes the rain to fall. I only know what makes that grass grow tall. I only know there ain't no love at all unless God gives you a song. There ain't no love at all, no love at all, without a song. Oh yeah, I only know there ain't no love at all without her soul.
Good morning. I am so excited to be here before you this morning. Before I get started, I want to say thank God for our young people. Thank God for our young people who don't just want to hear what we have to say, right? But they want to see what we're doing. They want to see it by demonstration. They want to see by example. So we thank God for our young people because that's what today's service is really about. So I'll be talking to myself, I'll be talking to the young people, and some of you older folk, you can listen also. My talk title today is, Do You See What I See? Do you see what I see? I see this church filled with each and every one of you. I'm so excited about that. And what I know is that believing is seeing. So I ask you again, do you see what I see? Before I get any further, I want to take a moment to thank God. I just want to say thank you, God, for not giving me a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind. I pray this morning that the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart are acceptable in your sight, for you are my Redeemer. So I ask you again, do you see what I see? What an important question that we need to ask ourselves. While many of us work really hard to make sure that people see us in the way that we want to be seen, right? That we put on the right clothing, we take our cameras and we put them at the right angles, we make sure that we have the perfect backdrop. The truth is, what they really see is not always who we are. The question is, who really sees me? Who knows me for real? Without my makeup, without my designer bags and my clothes? Who knows me without my weave? That's real. Who knows me without my mask? Do you see what I see? The real me? I hope so. A few years ago, Reverend Carroll said to us that we should be mindful and that when we speak to people and look at people, we should do it with really soft eyes. Little did she know that this pandemic would come and shut things down, and all we have to show is our eyes. And so, are you looking at people with soft eyes? That's a question that you have to ask yourself. I've been told that eyes are the windows of our souls. Do you see what I see? This talk title came about when I was talking to a friend a few weeks ago, and she said she heard this question on the radio. She said the question was, how would God describe you? We pondered over that for a while, actually for a few weeks. How would God describe you? Beyond Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or even LinkedIn, how would the God who lives in, moves through, and shows up as you describe you? It's pretty interesting, isn't it? I often hear people say, I'm a real nice person, or I'm the coolest person you could ever meet. The truth is, if you're a nice person and a cool person, you shouldn't have to tell me that. I should be able to see that on my own. So again, stop trying to make people see what you want them to see. You want your real, true, authentic self to show up. Do you see what I see? Allow God to describe who you really are. Not you, not somebody else, but God. Because the truth is, it's only what you do for God. That's the only thing that's going to last. That's the only thing that's important. I love that one of our unity principles said that God is good and active in everything, everywhere. He's good and active in everything, everywhere. So when this talk is over, I challenge you to sit down somewhere quietly and ask yourself, how would God describe me? That's pretty interesting. And if you don't like the way it feels, and it's not in alignment with what you want it to be, take some time and work on it. You can change it every day that you breathe. You can change it. Another one of my favorite questions is, if I were arrested for being a Christian, would there be enough evidence to convict me? Whew. If I were arrested for being a Christian, would there be enough evidence to convict me? Again, how would God describe you? Do you see what God sees? It's just a question. These questions led me on a quest to do a new thing, something different than I've done before. And with this, I came across a book that we had the young people read a few years ago, the Youth of Unity. And it was called The 4 Agreements. And it was by Don Miguel Ruiz. It was further described as a practical guide to personal freedom. It was a book, it was called a Totic wisdom book. And Totics were known as women or men of knowledge. So I like that, women of men of knowledge. The 4 Agreements is an easy read, and it provides a pretty simple outline for how we're to live our lives. I found that when I read it the second time, it provided me with some good instructions for living. It gave me some instructions for living the life that I really want to live. You know, I want to be about it, not just talk about it. So it gave me a chance to begin to start looking at maybe what God sees in me. But I'm going to read the book again because it really moves me. And once again, I suggest that you try it. It's a short and simple and powerful read. But one way for me to take the time to see this, how God really sees me, is to look at these 4 agreements. And we know that agreements means that you're in harmony with something. What I like is that it's the act of coming together in mutual arrangement. So I like that. So while many of us have our own agreements that we work on and we work with, the 4 agreements that he had were: 1, be impeccable with your word. 2, don't take things personally. 3, don't make assumptions. And 4, do your best. Let me tell you why I love that. Those are all things that we can do. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take things personally. Don't make assumptions, and do your best. Each of us can do that. So while I'm talking to our young people today and myself, once again, I'm just letting y'all listen in on it. We're going to break them down one by one. It says, be impeccable with your words. Be impeccable with your words. In Genesis 1, chapter 1, verse 3, it says, we know in the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was God. In the beginning there was the Word, and it was God. He spoke with his mouth, let there be light. And there was light. And then he spoke, let there be firmament. And he called the firmament heaven. And it gave light upon the earth. Then he said, let there be water. Then let the earth bring forth the living creatures after their kind. Then with his own words, God created man in his own image. It says with his words. We have to know that our words have power. We have to be impeccable with our words. You have what you speak, is what I was once told. you'll have what you speak. So if that's the case, I'm speaking life. I'm speaking all this wonderful stuff. This means that you'll have to think before you speak. Everything that comes into your mind can't come out of your mouth, Melanie. I'm talking to myself. I'm hoping you're hearing me. Choose and use your words wisely. My grandmother still tells me to this day that your word is your bond, Mel. I was like, your word is your bond? But when I asked her about it, she explained to me there was a time when you would go to the market and you would set some things on the counter and you would tell the man or the woman, I don't get paid until Friday. And they would write it down and you would come in on Friday and you would pay for what you picked up early. It probably was a layaway or credit cards before they were doing that, because there hasn't always been Zelle and Cash App and all those different things you can do, or loans. But if you didn't pay when you said you were going to pay, guess what? From that day forward, when you went into that store, you had to have cash. But until you did, your word was your bond. Many of you probably remember a long time ago, I remember when I was a kid, I would go into the store with my mom, and they would have this book, and it was the bad checkbook, and they would look through it before you wrote a check and make sure that your name wasn't on it, because if your name was on it, you couldn't write a check, you had to bring cash. But be impeccable with your words. Say what you mean and mean what you say. I remember there was a certain time when certain words were powerful, or they really meant something. They felt good in our soul. It was words like proud and homegrown and oath. Those words, they meant everything to me until they were paired with other words like this: proud boys, oath keepers, and homegrown terrorists. We have to be mindful of the words that we use. We have to, because when they're joined together, they have a whole different meaning. Our words have power. Be impeccable with your words. The second agreement that he had is don't take anything personally. So many times people say things and we allow them to hurt our feelings. We can be so sensitive. We can throw things out, but we can't always take it. We don't like when people do that. We can see the speck in other people's eyes, but we can't always see the log in our own. I'm going to say this to you. Stop taking what's not yours and driving yourself crazy. If it ain't yours, don't own it. If it's not yours, don't own it. So I have an 11-year-old godson, and let me tell you what he says all the time. If you give him something and he doesn't want it, he pushes it back to you real politely, and he goes, that's for mama, or that's for you. Alex, I need you to eat your green beans. He'd be like, that's for mama. I'm gonna ask that you do the same thing. When somebody serves you something via words or any actions or anything else and you don't want it, be real kind with it and just simply say, that ain't mine, that's for you. I learned years ago to take what someone tells me, to sit in it for 24 hours, to discern what is mine, because sometimes it is yours. What's mine, I'm gonna take. The rest, I'm gonna say, that's for you, that's not mine. I've worked very hard recently to separate the deed from the doer. I do this because I don't want to walk around mad at folk forever. I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to walk around forever, and folk don't even know when you're mad half the time, and the other times they don't care. You have to remember that people are not going to always like everything that you do. That's just the way it goes. They're not going to like it. One of my big spiritual brothers, Vernon, always says to me, he says, some will and some won't. So what? Basically, some gonna like you, some are not. So what? What are you gonna do next? I often hear that these stars and movie stars and actors and different people, they'll read 100 comments and they'll tell them how good they look, how beautiful they were, how they loved what they had and all this stuff. And there'll be one comment that says, I didn't like it, it didn't work. And that's the one comment they say that they continue to take to heart. It doesn't matter. Some will, some won't. So what? It's okay. Stop taking things so personally. If it ain't got nothing to do with you, don't accept it. Give it back to him graciously. Another one of our principles is I create my experiences by what I choose to think and what I feel and what I believe. I love that. Reverend Argentina used to say, when people would say things and it didn't feel right, she would just cover and say, cancel, cancel. That ain't mine. I don't have to accept that. And it was her birthday this week, so I'm glad I got a chance to throw that in. But cancel. If it doesn't feel good to your spirit, if it's not uplifting you, I'm not accepting it. You keep that. That's yours. That's for you, my baby says. So we're not going to do that. The third agreement is don't make assumptions. The best way to say this is everything ain't about you. So many times we want to make generalizations and assumptions. So many times we want to do this without knowing the whole story. Get the facts, ma'am. Don't try to fill in the holes and gaps in somebody else's story. Don't do that. Ask some clarifying questions so that you can find out if you think you know what you know. Look how many people assume that little David couldn't fight big Goliath. Not just people, his own dad. He didn't know how to speak those words into him because he didn't know. Remember, he had him dressed up in this big old armor. Stop making assumptions. Here's what I'm going to say to you. Through prayer and meditation, another principle, I connect with God and bring out the good in my life. Through prayer and meditation, I connect with God and bring out the good in my life. It don't have to be what everybody else believes. If God drops it in your spirit, do what you need to do. But don't make assumptions. Don't worry about that stuff. It's not yours. Stop assuming that size equals strength. Stop assuming that money equals happiness. We all watch reality shows. We know that's not true. Stop assuming that position equals truth. Sometimes people are in positions of power and they're not speaking truth to us at all. So let me tell you a story. As a grief and loss counselor, I want you to know that I work with young people all the time. And so recently I learned a valuable lesson about assumptions. I was working with a young girl, and I, just like everybody else, was talking about how excited I was that 2021 was coming. We're going to be done with 2020. We're going to say goodbye to this thing, let it go, bye. We're going to flush it. We're going to do all of these things. And one of my young clients said to me real gently and sweetly, it was just real gently, and she said, Miss Melanie, I'm not so ready for 2020 to leave. And I'm like, really? Because everybody, the pandemic and financial woes and all of these things, but she said, I'm not so ready for it to leave. Because 2020 was the last time that she got to hug and love and play with and talk to her deceased loved one. So for her, she wasn't rushing into that. So the assumption that everybody was ready for 2021 to jump in wasn't true for her. She didn't want that. She loved that it was still 2020 because in her mind, she still had a connection with him. She still loved him and she still missed him. So I'm going to say, before you think that you know what someone else is feeling, take some time and ask them. Don't make assumptions because they are dangerous. They really are. So here's Mr. Ruiz's fourth agreement. It says, always do your best. And that's perfect because that aligns perfect with one of our unity principles. I do and give my best by living the truth that I know. Always do your best. Don't do your friend's best. Don't do your mama's best. Don't do your daddy's best. Do your own best. It's enough. You are enough. You've got to know that. The truth is, you and I can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. We can do anything. Our Trinity here is mind, idea, expression. And I love that. It's so powerful. It's that when you link your mind to God mind. That's just for you young people just sitting in prayer and meditation and allow God to drop this divine, y'all like the computer, to input this wonderful thing for you. And then you get this idea and you go, this is how I'm going to go forth, and this is how I'm going to do it. Always do your best. Stop trying to manipulate outcomes. Stop trying to have personal agendas. We do that a lot. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Stay ready, and then you don't have to get ready. Because when you trying to get ready, many times you miss great opportunities. They come to you when you was a finna and about to and all of that stuff. But if you stay ready, you're ready. That's wonderful. So we want to make sure you always do your best, even when no one is looking. I was told that's the definition of integrity, to do your best when no one is looking. But I need to be honest with you. My definition of integrity is to do your best always, because God is always looking. He's inside of us, so he always knows what we're doing anyway. That's integrity, just doing your best, whether they're looking or whether they're not, because God is always looking. Do you see what I see? God, how would you describe me? That's the most important thing. I need you to know that doing your best doesn't always mean you're going to win. It don't always mean you're going to come in first place, but do the best that you can. I was told when the one great scorer comes to write against your name, he writes not that you won nor lost, but how you played the game. Always do your best. It's not always the end result that counts, because we know that folk take shortcuts and they cheat and they do all kind of things to make sure they get to the end. It's the joy in the journey that you want to work through. It's the joy in that. It's the joy in doing that. We don't want to manipulate and do these things. We want to do our best. So again, I'm going to give you these 4 agreements, but I'm going to put some spiritual context behind them. So get your pens and paper ready. I hope you've already had them. Be impeccable with your word. That's the first agreement. Be impeccable with your word. I want you to go to Proverbs 12:22. It says, the Lord detests lying lips, but he delights in people who are trustworthy. Proverbs 18:4 says, a person's words can be life-giving waters of truth, as refreshing as a bubbling brook. Be impeccable with your word. The second one is don't take anything personally. If we go to Proverbs 12:16, it says don't bear grudges and ignore insults against you. Ignore insults against you. That ain't yours. That's yours. That ain't mine. That's yours. Don't make assumptions. I need you to seek the truth always. John 8:32 tells me, then you will know the truth and the truth will set you free. You ain't got to assume that. The word tells us that you will know the truth and the truth will set you free. And then it says, always do your best. So we know that in Philippians 4:13, it says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That's amazing. And then the other one is 2 Timothy 1-7. And I usually open up with that. God, you didn't give me a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind. That means everything when you're walking into a situation. Even if your legs are wobbly, you're a little nervous, you know what? Do your best. Walk in there, stand tall, hold yourself up. You know, they ain't got to see your legs knocking together and doing all these things. Do your best, knowing that your best is not somebody else's best. It's your best. Always remember that. So I want you to know that I'm striving to be open. I'm striving to be honest. I'm striving to be flexible. Most importantly, I'm striving to be more gentle with myself. Now, I want God to see me and describe me in those same ways. I want to see what God sees in me. I want that to happen. I want to ask myself, do you see what I see? And then I want to ask myself, do I see what God sees? So young people, these 4 agreements, and we're going to read this book again. Please believe me, these 4 agreements, be impeccable with your words, right? Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions and always do your best. Somebody's always watching you. Here is a song from my childhood that I think about and I love it. And it just simply says, keep this thought in mind. Someone's watching you. And they want to be just like you, setting their examples by you. And they're never gonna miss a single thing you do. And tomorrow's world will be governed by the children. And they want to be just like you, setting their examples by you. And they're never gonna miss a single thing you do. No, they're never gonna miss a single thing you do. So I ask you, take a few minutes when this is over and ask yourself, do you see what I see? Amen. Now it's that special time in our service where we take a time to be blessed and blessings to others. So we know that we've been blessed, and so we just want to pass it on. We want to ripple like everyone, like everything else. This is a time that I ask, do you see what I see? Do you see baskets overflowing? Not for us, but for our community, for people who need it, for people who would love to have it. So we ask right now that you gently take your offering in your left hand and cover it with your right as we affirm our prosperity prayer together. Divine love in and through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. We are so grateful that you continue to bless Detroit Unity Temple, even though you're not physically sitting in these seats. We're so grateful for that. But what we want to tell you right now is there are 4 ways that you can give. So there's a link right below that you can click on. You can do that. You can come out to our church physical building, to 2nd Avenue, to the drop box. You can use checks. People still have checks. Or you can send it through U.S. Postal Mail. However it works for you, please do that. We're just going to take a time right now and we just say, we're so grateful that you know that tithes and offering is not for anybody else, Lord. It's for us. It is the 10th that we're giving back that you've already given us. We know that it's not a debt that we owe, but a seed that we sow. Not a debt that we owe, but a seed that we sow. So in your Son, Jesus' name, we sow this seed, and we know that it is for, yes, the church, the community, the city, the state, our country, our world. We say thank you and amen. Now let us prepare for a wonderful song selection from our own Sandra Bomar and Denard McCleary.
Walk with me, Lord, walk with me. Walk with me, Lord, walk with me. While I'm on this tedious journey, I want Jesus to walk with me. Hold my hand, Lord, hold my hand. Hold my hand, Lord, hold my hand. While I'm on this tedious journey, I want Jesus to hold my hand. Be my friend, Lord, be my friend. Be my friend, Lord, be my friend. While I am on this tedious journey, I want Jesus to be my friend. Now walk with me, Lord, walk with me, yeah. Walk with me, Lord, walk with me. While I am on this tedious journey, and I want Jesus, I want Jesus, I want Jesus to walk with me. I want Jesus to walk with me. I want Jesus to hold my hand. I want Jesus to be my friend. Yeah. I want Jesus to walk with me. Hold my hand, be my friend. Yeah.
And now I'm going to bring to the stage Mrs. Verna Calhoun, who will prepare us for this wonderful presentation that we have with our special young people today. It's a Black History Month tribute.
Good morning. My name is Verna Calhoun, and with my husband Tommy, we teach the Uniteens, and we also coordinate the youth ministry. We welcome a few of our Detroit Unity's youth ministry members as they celebrate Black history. And we thank God for our young people who understand the value of having role models to look up to. They are our future, but most importantly, they're our present. They will now do presentations on inspirational African Americans. Thank you.
Today I'm highlighting John Merrick. I chose him because he was born into slavery and he went through very hard times, having to start work at a very young age to support his parents and his siblings. He was born in 1959 and was an African-American businessman born in Clinton, North Carolina. Following his emancipation, Merrick learned to read and write while at a constructionist school. He was forced to begin work at a young age. Merrick became a brick mason while simultaneously learning barber trade in order to make ends meet. In the brickyards, Merrick had a first-hand look at Durham's impoverished Black population. His early jobs paved the way for Merrick's future success as a barbershop entrepreneur and later as a business mogul and philanthropist. Merrick's first financially successful business venue was his owner shop of barber shops in the Durham area. And over time, he believed in himself and he rose up to become great things. Yeah.
My name is Cheyenne Donahue, and this Black History Month, I will be honoring my friend Shanae Dortch. She has a skincare line where she sells facial cleansers, hydrating oils, and face masks, and much more. She inspires me because she's just my age, 17, and she's decided to start her own business and make her own money over quarantine while just being in the house.
My name is London Porter, and today I will be talking about Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is the first female vice president and first Black person and Asian American to hold that position. But who is Kamala Harris? Kamala Davy Harris was born on October 20th, 1964 in Oakland, California. Her mother was from India and her father was from Jamaica. When her parents divorced, Kamala moved to Montreal, Quebec, Canada with her mother and sister. She went to Westmont High School in Quebec and with a friend founded a dance troupe. After graduating, Kamala returned to the United States and attended Howard University in Washington, D.C., where she joined the debate team. After receiving a degree in political science and economics, she enrolled at the University of California, Hastings College of Law in 1989. In 2003, Kamala became San Francisco's district attorney, and she began the Back on Track program by offering job training and other educational programs for low-level offenders. In November 2010, Kamala became the first African American and first woman to hold the California Attorney General position. Kamala has written 3 books. Her first in 2010 was Smart on Crime, a career prosecutor's plan to make us safer. In 2019, she wrote The Truths We Hold, an American Journey, and a picture book for children called Superheroes Are Everywhere. On January 21st, 2019, on Good Morning America, Kamala announced she was running for president in 2020. Unfortunately, in December 2019, she announced that she was ending her presidential campaign. On August 11, 2020, presidential hopeful Joe Biden announced that he chose Kamala Harris as his running mate. "Excuse me, I'm speaking" is a quote Kamala is known for in her vice president debate. On November 7, 2020, Biden was declared the 46th president, and Kamala became the first female vice president and first Black person and Asian American to hold that office. Thank you.
Now let us prepare for our announcements with our own Linda Porter King.
And good morning again. The tax season is almost here. To ensure we have your current mailing address and that you receive your giving statement, please go to www.detroitunity.com and complete the blue pop-up form. The art that you see on display here in the auditorium was provided by Sherwood Forest Art. This is just a small sampling of the wonderful art they have to offer. Go to www.sherwoodforestart.com to browse and shop for the art on display and so much more. All purchases are to be made through the gallery. Monday Night Prayer Circle is every Monday from 6 to 7 p.m. via Zoom. Check your email for the Zoom link. Now, if you do not get our Sunday bulletin, send your email address to dutreception@gmail.com and put Prayer Circle in the subject line. Join Heart-Centered Metaphysics class every Thursday at 6 p.m. via Zoom. To be added to the class roster, send an email to dutreception@gmail.com. Put Heart-Centered in the subject line. The Caregiver Support Groups meet the second Thursday of each month. Session 1 is from 1 to 3 p.m. and Session 2 is from 6 to 8 p.m. Become a member and learn about senior services, organizations, and resources to help you and your care partner find solutions to challenging issues. Contact Marilyn Lawson to register by calling 313-289-9672. The new Detroit Unity Optimist Club is having its annual Optimist Club Oratorical Contest in March via Zoom. This contest is for the youth of Detroit ages 19 and under. This year's speech topic is Healing the World Through Optimism. Contact Phoenicia Long at PHONECIA14@gmail.com to enter for a chance to win up to $22,000 in scholarships. March birthdays and anniversary people, if you'd like your special day recognized during service, please send your name and date of marriage to dutreception@gmail.com by March 1st. Remember to send your name and date of birth or marriage by March 1st. And please put March Party in the subject line. And Reverend Guice, this completes our announcements for the week. Thank you.
I would like to say thank you, Linda, for those announcements, but we have one special announcement that we'd like to make right now, and I'd like to bring up to the podium our Vice Chair of the Board, Mr. John Cromer, who's going to make a very special announcement about a presentation that we're going to make. As you know, from the last few weeks, we've been talking about our effort to acknowledge entrepreneurship within the Detroit Unity Temple. So, Mr. Cromer, would you come out at this particular time to share this fabulous announcement?
Thank you. Good morning, Reverend Greg. How are you today?
Positive.
My name is John Cromer. Like Reverend Greg said, I am the Vice Chair of the Board of Trustees, and I'm an entrepreneur by trade. And it's my pleasure to bring out another entrepreneur. We are celebrating the entrepreneurs at the church. So our first recipient of the Entrepreneur of the Month Award is Deborah Bowens from Deborah's Delight. Deborah.
Hi.
All the
Thank
way
you.
up. Congratulations, Debbie. This is a certificate from the Board of Trustees from the Detroit Unity Temple. Obviously, we appreciate the actual work that you do on a regular basis, and we all know that your food is good because we've all tasted it. So, Debbie, this is your certificate of recognition.
Thank you so much, John, and the whole Unity family. I am privileged and honored. This is indeed quite a surprise, but the good Lord asked me to be of service, and that's what I intend to do. And it's by way of Deb's Divine Delectables that I have chosen. And it just offers me an opportunity to avail myself and my service to the general public. I dearly appreciate and love each and every one of you, and I put that in my giving of my service. It is truly a labor of love. And I thank you, and I feel honored and privileged to be a recipient. Thank you so very much, Unity family.
Thank you very much, and we look forward to the next person being awarded this award also.
Would you also acknowledge who else is on your committee?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I'm actually in support of a wonderful, wonderful person, Mrs. Delvin Bowers, who's the actual chair of this program, put together most of the information and did a wonderful, wonderful job. Thank you, Ms. Bowers.
Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Greg.
This is the first of many, and we truly hope that you will pay attention as we go forward. So right now, we want to say thank you for being a part of this moment. Once again, I'd like to share with you that this has been a fabulous, wonderful month in African American history. I'd like to say thank you again to our Vice Chair, John Cromer. And also I'd like to take a moment to say thank you to our children who stepped up here and did a wonderful demonstration of taking in and reflecting on the Black entrepreneurs that take place in our community. And as we bring our service to a close, remember to go to www.detroitunity.com and complete the pop-up form to make sure you receive your annual meeting ballot. That is very important. And when you get that ballot, I want you to know that it's important that you take that ballot and put it back inside that special envelope that was mailed to you. So join us right now as we go to Unity Worldwide Ministries everywhere as we pray and believe the following prayer. We know that God is a love that has no end and a power that knows no bounds. God's healing power of divine life is restoring, healing, and revitalizing our world in this very moment. We let go of any fears or anxieties, and we affirm that all are safe, healthy, and protected. We bless all those who support us in maintaining vibrant and radiant health. We express divine life in all we think, say, and do. We bless our global family with radiant health, peace of mind, and abundant love. So we take this moment right now to just say thank you for being a part of this service. But before we come to a final moment of closing, I'd like for you to look up here again and see this artwork, because this entire month, Sherwood Forest Art Gallery provided us with an opportunity to have this artwork on display. And I can't help but to look back at this artwork and just say, for this month, what a wonderful display. And to those artists, creativity has been a tremendous part of African American history. Last year and the year before that, we had African American quilts, and this year we had art display. It touches my heart that this is a part of who we are. That creativity flows in us in so many ways. So I encourage you to go to the Sherwood Forest Art Gallery and look around and purchase a piece of art. Anything you purchase from there comes directly back to us in a percentage. And that is a wonderful way of restoring and supporting an African American artist. And I also like to share with you right now that we do have still going on in our community an African American effort of sponsoring entrepreneurs, because those entrepreneurs are working to make sure that our communities stay uplifted. If you know an entrepreneur in your community, as Cheyenne's talked about, I thought that was a brilliant part on her. She talked about a young lady who was 17 years old who developed her own product. What a wonderful highlight that was for me to see a young lady who took on that responsibility to develop her own product. You might know someone as well. Support them in your community. You see, that is so fabulous, because that's what makes the world go around. And when a young person can do that, you can too. You might want to think about that. Always remember, this entire year we're going to be featuring and highlighting that as our theme, because what goes around continuously circulates like blood within us. And also this month we started off talking about what took place in Greenwood, Oklahoma, in Tulsa. 100 years ago, what happened to that community. We can't forget it. They're celebrating, commemorating 100 years of what happened in 1921. We spoke about that, and we spoke about many things that happened during that time period. So as we bring this month to a close, remember, we don't just celebrate it for 1 month. It's 365 days in a year that we celebrate this continuously. So always remember, they may say that you just have a month, but I say you have a lifetime of teaching and learning and experiencing what goes on in your life, because you are African American history. Your ancestors, your family, your community. Look around at somebody. Right now it's about a world history, it's about your spirituality. I would say that we are the temple, but you are that past, that future. Look at your children, look at your ancestors, look at your family. So as we bring this service to a close, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to each and every one. And also, if you want to be a member of Detroit Unity Temple, simply write us a letter. Tell us, put on that letter, say membership. And also remember about our capital campaign that's taking place, that we try to renovate this effort, this building, this wonderful spiritual community. Send in that tithe, that offering. And then be aware that we're going to have a podcast coming out very shortly by Melanie Porch-Donahue, soon to be Reverend, the Reverend David Stubbs, and myself. I want to say thank you to Jesse Glander, who's helping us to produce it, to Billy Edwards, and all of us working together, because we're doing something new each and every time you blink an eye. We're going to be doing something even greater. But that's what we're about. Moving towards excellence, lifting ourselves higher. I want to say thank you to the board. Thank you to Effie Gordy. Thank you to Charles and Gwen Scales, to Sandra Beaumont, to Denard McCleary, to our board members, to our staff, especially to you, to John Hudson, to Dennis, to Melanie Porch-Donahue, to David Stubbs, to all of us that makes Detroit Unity Temple go forward, to Miss Linda Porter King, to Betsy Harris. We are the temple. So I'm going to end on that note, because that's what it's going to take for us to go forward, to raise ourselves higher and higher, as that quote for Food for Thought says, and still, I'm going to say, we rise. Have a beautiful Sunday, and we look forward to next week. God bless you. Be well. God bless you.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as our Father, all of us are free. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let